Well, where do I begin? Snitches. Snitch. Snitches get stitches, that's what I say. I don't condone violence, so take that as you will, a pinch of salt. I might do a video breaking down the difference between a snitch, a rat, and a snake, because they're all different. They all do the same thing, but one does something for information, another one does something for money, another one will only do something because they want to move up somewhere, and one just does it for the fun of the game because they just love doing it. They just can't help themselves. They're a randall, you know. So let me start the story. Let me set the scene for you. Right, as you may have known or noticed, I don't do nights anymore. Did nights for 4 years. It was nice, good people. I was very comfortable there. But if you do nights, you know, especially if you had a rota that I did, where I worked weekends. What was it? It was Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? No, it was Thursday to Monday. Thursday to Monday. But I would finish Tuesday. Was it Tuesday morning? I can't remember. But it was definitely Thursday to Monday. And it was a lot. It was a lot. You just turn into a zombie. You don't have much of a social life. So I found a new job. Got it. Cool. I do warehousing now. I start at 6, finish at 3. Still long hours, but I still get time to myself. Everything's going well, you know, I can't complain. I've managed to get a mini promotion in a way, if you can call it that. I got moved up to doing something that's a little bit easier in the warehouse. So in the warehouse, how it works is you've got pickers and you've got receivers and you've got tippers and you've got loaders. I'll explain all the rest. All we need to focus on is picking and receiving. I do receiving. So what that entails is when the work comes off the lorry, I'm the person who breaks down the work and puts them onto pallets and puts them in certain sections of the warehouse for it to be picked and put into the right places, basically. So when the pickers come to collect the work off the pallet, I'm the person who says grid A, grid B, that sort of thing. When we are receiving now, because it's humans, there's errors that can be made. So when something comes off the pallet, there may be 50 boxes that look all the same. And then we have a thing called, it's like a receipt, or they call it a manifesto. On that receipt or manifesto tells you you're going to have 10 boxes of apple juice, 20 boxes of bananas, 50 boxes of grapes. Sometimes you might even have 200 boxes of the same thing, but you have to check the manifesto. On the manifesto, it tells you how much is going to be on there, what the date is, and what warehouse it's going to, which is very important. Because this is where the human error can come in. When the stuff comes off the lorry, there is, I believe, there's a person who takes it off. I think they use I forgot what you call it, but they have a machine that they use to take it off. And that person who takes off the lorry is meant to check if it's for this depot or another depot. Sometimes they don't check properly, and then when we break it down, before we break it down, we have to check that it says it's for our depot. If we don't check and we've broken it down, two things can happen. One, normally, if it's not for our depot, it won't let us scan the item. So that's how we know it's not for our depot. Sometimes items do get scanned. But once we've realized it's not for our depot, what happens is we have to basically put all that stuff back together again. And sometimes it could take a while. Or what can happen as well sometimes is once it's broken down, and unfortunately it's been scanned and someone's picked it and put it in the warehouse, you're screwed basically. You're basically fucked. It goes against your name as a mispick. Mispicks now are when you've made a mistake. So if on the manifesto it might say something like there's 20 cases of apples, and then you see a large number of apples and you've just gone, do you know what, there must be 20 there. You scan that as 20, Bob's your uncle. Someone's come to pick it now, but once they've picked it, on their little scanning majiggy, it's saying that there's either less or more. So once they've scanned it and started picking, they've realized that the number's different. That goes against your name because you didn't count it properly. And it's very important to count it, because if you don't count it properly, it goes against your name. Sometimes you can get more. If it's more, they can plus it up. They can only plus up by 25 items. Any more than that, they need to come and investigate. Sometimes it's less. If it's less, it's not a big deal, because it's always easier to plus up than to plus down, if that makes sense. If you're over, then so if you put more than there is, that's more of a problem than if you put less than there is, if that makes sense. But all of this will go against your name. Bearing in mind, whilst all this is going on, you have a picking speed, and you have a receiving speed. A receiving speed means there's a certain amount of crates or cases you need to be doing per hour. Some days it's one figure, another days it's another figure. If it's busier, the figure's slightly less. If it's quieter, the figures are slightly more. So bearing all of that in mind, you also have to remember, on quieter days, when the work come into the depot, sometimes the pallets that we get are mixed up. And sometimes the pallets that we get are straight pallets. And when I mean straight pallets, that means there might be pallet that comes with just milk, and on that milk it's all broken, like it's all one thing. So when it's all one thing, so it might be like whole milk, blue whole milk. Let's just say, for example, 100 cases of blue whole milk. You don't need to break that down because you can clearly see it's just one item. When you get stuff like that, boom, scan, and it's a lot easier. However, on quieter days, a lot of the times everything's mixed up. So you might have 100 whole milk and then cheese on it and other stuff on it. And then you have to break that down. But what they don't factor in, like the management, is that takes time. When you're breaking down stuff like that, it takes a lot of time. So all that will slow you down, and that goes against your case count. So you have all this stuff. I'm going to get to the point. And also, whilst we are breaking stuff down and receiving, we have people that come and check our work and check what we do. They work separately from the company that we work for. So every time we break something down, they will come and check. But it's not a personal thing. It's nothing like they're doing it to try to sack you. It's just so the company can verify what stock comes in, what doesn't come in, if there's a mistake or whatever. But they also check the work that you do. So, for example, the other day, I had what do you call hummus? It was supposed to be 87 boxes of hummus that came, but it was way more than 87. But I just saw I'll be honest, I just saw a big, large number. It looked like a big number. I thought, alright, cool, that must be correct. Because at the bottom of the pile, they were all together. It was one item. I thought, cool. So one of the guys who's checking, he's checking it. I've said to him, because he's normally cool. He's a youngish guy. He talks about football, whatever, and he's helped me out before. Because sometimes what these checkers like to do, they don't want to try to get people into trouble. What they do is they kind of give people heads up, be like, oh, listen, this is wrong, la 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 la, just change it quickly. So I've said to him, listen, if there's any problems or whatever, just let me know, I'll change it. He goes, yeah, don't worry. He started counting it now, and it looked like there's way more than there should have been. So he said to me, yeah, you've put 87, but there's like 192. I said, wow, that's a lot. He goes, don't worry, it's too early. I've just started, just go change it. So I've gone to change the number. You have to go to like a guy on the computer, I've changed it now, but I put the number he's told me to put it, but it's not working. I said to him, are you sure it was 102? He goes, yeah, 102. So I've gone up to the computer guy. He's come back now. I brought him back round. I said, listen, I've made a mistake. There's loads more than there should. I found more, He said, all right, cool. He started counting it, and he counted 119. So I'm like, but you just, okay. I didn't say nothing. I was just, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, cool. Then the guy who did the count and was like, oh yeah, go change it, he's turned around right where the guy on the computer has come to count and just double check that it was over. Oh yeah, he made a mistake. I found it, and I'm looking at him like, what are you doing? Why is your mouth so big? What are we doing here? Cool. Luckily, the guy on the computer, he's not a manager. He's got no authority to do anything. So I've just brushed it off, like, cool, whatever. I've changed it, whatever. I thought, cool, that's done. Then I've gone on break. As I've gone on break now, I hope you men are following this, because I'm fuming. I really am. But I've gone on break. As I've gone on break now, the same dusty rat who tried to get man in trouble with the check-in has come up again. But he's come up with a manager this time. Oh yeah. Oh, there he is. I found another mistake. Yeah, you made 2 mistakes. I'm like, bro, in my head, I'm thinking, I'm about to flip this table. Like, what are you doing? What we're meant to be black in this thing? Like, you're a young black guy, I'm a young black. Like, come on, what we doing? Man's there, brought out his phone, said, yeah, sign this. Bearing in mind, I'm on break now, yeah? And then the manager's gone to me, listen, Jerome, I know you work hard, but come on, like, this doesn't look good, Bearing in mind, he doesn't know there was another error until this guy next to him said, oh yeah, I found an error this morning. That's a second error, I'm like, wow. Talk about dashing a man under a bus. Bearing in mind, the first error, it was a bad one. I should have counted it properly. I just tried to do a quick thing, but I don't know if it's going to show up in the system. The second error, it wasn't that deep. What it was I had orange juice, and there was one orange juice over. I forgot to go and plus it up, so I've left it on the same crate, and because of that, he's put it down as an error. When you can clearly see it's only one. And do you know why I'm even more pissed? Because he was the one, he used to go around the warehouse saying, oh yeah, if someone makes an error by one, I don't bring it up, I don't do that, it's only one, I can allow it. I'm over by one and you didn't allow it, brother. Man was there just in front of everybody. Oh yeah, trying to get man in trouble. Cool. I've had my break now and I've seen him. Man's looked at the floor. Listen, you see me? I'm too old to be beefing at work. That's fine. You do what you gotta do. Now I know you're a rat, you're a snake, that's fine. But the worst type of snitch is the one that is your own. When I mean your own, I mean your own people. So if you're an Asian brother and you got an Asian snitch at work, that's terrible. If you're a black brother and you got a black snitch at work, that's terrible. Why would you do that? So there's gonna be a part 2. I've emailed my managers, I've told them, listen, something's gonna come up, whatever. So I'm gonna see what the outcome is. I may, we'll see what happens. I might not have a job, but it's a shame because I really like it here. But the long and short of it is, when you're at work, you got no friends. When you're at work, be careful of your own people. When you're at work, make sure you know who the rats, the snitches, and the snakes are, and you stay away from them. And when you're at work, you do everything by the book, and you read up on that manual, and you make sure you're part of the union. If you're not part of the union, you make sure you know your rights. So, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll find out what happens. Part 2 coming up soon.